My name is Joe Crookston. I'm a contemporary folk musician.
Mama, I'm gonna miss you, but I won't miss the plow. No more salt and tears and sweat upon my brow.
I love to tell stories in my songs. When you're good and you communicate with people, it doesn't matter what kind of music it is. It cuts in and people go, wow, this is cool.
And I had you in a strong will. We made our home in these New York hills. You sailed with me, I sailed with you. With a leather suitcase, everything was new. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here. Really, really happy to play for you today. And I'm going to start off with a song that's about 4 years old. It's called Fall Down As the Rain. And I lived out in Washington State, did a lot of backpacking, and I wrote this on my little travel banjo up in the Cascade Mountains, about 5,700 feet up, sitting on a boulder. It's called Fall Down As the Rain. When my life is over and I have gone away, I'm gonna leave this big old world and the trouble and the pain. And if I get to heaven, I will not stay. I'll turn myself around again and fall down as the rain. When I finally reach the ground, I'll soak into the side. I'll turn myself around again, come up as goldenrod. Come up as goldenrod, come up as goldenrod. I turn myself around again, come up as goldenrod. Come up as goldenrod, come up as goldenrod. I turn myself around again, come up as goldenrod. Then when I turn dry and brown, I'll lay me down to rest. I turn myself around again as part of an eagle's nest. Part of an eagle's nest, part of an eagle's nest. I turn myself around again as part of an eagle's nest. Part of an eagle's nest, part of an eagle's nest. I turn myself around again as part of an eagle's nest. When that eagle learns to fly, I'll flutter from that tree. I'll turn myself around again as part of the mystery. Part of the mystery, part of the mystery. I'll turn myself around again as part of the mystery. Part of the mystery, part of the mystery. I'll turn myself around again as part of the mystery. When my life is over and I have gone away, I'm gonna leave this big old world and the trouble and the pain. And if I get to heaven, I will not stay. I'll turn myself around again and fall down as the rain. Fall down as the rain, fall down as the rain. I'll turn myself around again and fall down as the rain. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. This is a beautiful, beautiful space to play in. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm going to play you a song called Hands, Metal, and Wood. I grew up in a family of roofers. I grew up in Northeast Ohio. And my great-grandfather, big claim to fame in our family, was that my great-grandfather, Anthony Joseph Crookston, invented the roofing hammer as the roofing hammer. And that was a big claim to fame in our family. It has a razor blade on one end where you can kind of, you hit the nail and you flip it over and you can cut the shingle with the razor blade. And I was all proud of that. And I was on this tour last month, and we stayed in this house in Massachusetts. And the host put us up. They said, oh, yeah, you can stay here all night, that's fine. He said, the only thing is there's a family of roofers who are going to stay here tonight, and they're going to get up first thing in the morning and start working on the house. We're like, oh, great, thanks. Yeah, we get in at 3 in the morning, and, we have roofers going at 6 o'clock. So 6:30, sure enough, the roofers get up, and I stumble down. They go down in the kitchen. I hear them down there. So I woke up, and I went down, and oh, you guys are roofers, and, yeah, you're putting the shingles on the house and this and that. And I said, well, my great-grandfather invented the roofing hammer. And I was all proud and, telling him about this. And I said, he goes, yeah, I know what that is. Nobody uses them anymore. Now I was like, oh, deflated me a little bit there. So I wrote this song for my papa. It's called Hands, Metal, and Wood. Hey, son, here's how it's done. You get a good grip and don't let it slip. You aim for the nail and not your thumb. And it's like I said with the hammerhead. You gotta hit it to get it if it's gonna stand up firm. You give it some time and I know you'll learn to use your hands and metal and wood. Your hands and metal and wood. These skills I am giving can earn you a living. I'd never tell you what to do or what I think you should, but I'll teach you how to use your hands and metal and wood. Hey, job, it's done. You gotta work the hoe between the rows a little every day till the harvest comes. And when the handle is long and the blade is strong, you gotta hoe it to grow it if it's gonna feed you well. You give it some time and you might be compelled to use your hands and metal and wood. Your hands and metal and wood. These skills I am giving can earn you a living. I'd never tell you what to do or what I think you should, but I'll teach you how to use your hands and metal and wood. And as you're digging deep and progress is made, keep both hands on the wood and one foot to tap the spade, and keep it honest and I know you'll succeed, and this is all you're ever gonna need, to use your hands and metal and wood. Your hands and metal and wood. These skills I am giving can earn you a living, but I'd never tell you what to do, what I think you should, but I'd teach you how to use your hands and metal and wood. Hey son, I see you have become who you are with your guitar. Your hands on the metal make the rosewood hum. And it's my only will that you use your skills. You gotta string it to sing it if it's gonna fill your soul. Give it all you've got if it is your goal. To use your hands and metal and wood. Your hands and metal and wood. These skills I am giving can earn you a living, but I'd never tell you what to do, what I think you should, but I'll teach you how to use your hands and metal.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, yeah. Well, I live in Ithaca. I had the privilege of traveling around the Finger Lakes region of New York, and as part of this grant project where I interviewed people and I collected stories, and I wrote songs based on the stories that I collected. And I met some amazing people. I met some incredibly freaky people. And everywhere in between. I met plumbers and teachers and farmers and jugglers, and it was just awesome. It basically, for 14 months, to travel around more of the rural parts of the Finger Lakes region and just collect stories. And I'll play a couple of those songs right now. This one's called John Jones. And you know John Jones? John Jones? John Jones lived in Elmira, New York, not far from here, in a little yellow house. He escaped a plantation in Leesburg, Virginia. And he basically escaped, traveled on foot across the New York line, and settled in Elmira. And he lived in this little yellow house and it became one of the major depot stations in the Underground Railroad, heading north to Canada. And for me, living out in Seattle, I of course know about the Underground Railroad, but for me to actually go and visit and walk some of the routes of the Underground Railroad in this area, it really brought that history to life. So I'm going to play a song called John Jones.
Mama, I'm gonna miss you, but I won't miss the plow. No more salt and tears and sweat upon my brow. I'm leaving Virginia, gonna get away somehow. Mama, I'm gonna miss you, but I won't miss the plow. Mama, I'm gonna miss you, but I won't miss these chains. I crossed the Mason-Dixon line on that freedom train. No more sweat rolling down like muddy rain. Mama, I'm gonna miss you, but I won't miss these chains. Bended back, dusty plains, shackled in rusty chains. Heavy stones, ragged bones, run, 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 John Jones. Mama, I made it across the New York line, and the thing that nearly killed me was leaving you behind. 300 miles now and freedom is mine. Mama, I miss you, but I don't miss the plow. Mama, I made it across the New York line. Mama, I made it across the New York line, and the thing that nearly killed me was leaving you behind. 300 miles now and freedom is mine. Mama, I made it across the New York line. Now I'm working here in these New York hills, digging graves and cutting wood for the lumber mill. But I don't work for free now. They give me dollar bills. Mama, there's a northbound train heading for these hills. 300 miles free at last, running from a dusty past. Tombstones all alone, far, far from home, John Jones. Mama, I pray the word gets down to you. Take the 4 a.m. northern train and meet the baggage crew. And whisper Elmira, they'll know what to do. Dear God, if you make it, I'll be waiting here for you. Mama, I miss you, but I don't miss the plow. No more salt and tears and sweat upon my brow. Long gone Virginia, I'm a free man now. Mama, I miss you, but I don't miss the plow. 4 a.m. being brave, baggage car and freeing slaves. Elmira Railroad all alone. Far, far from home, John Jones.
Thank you so much. All right. I'll play you one more song here. This is another one of the New York story songs. And I met this woman, Dina Jacobson, who also lives down in this area of New York. And I grew up Hungarian, eating the nastiest foods you ever I can't imagine, like garlic jello with paprika on it, that kind of thing. And so when I met Dina, we had some great laughs about these gross foods that we grew up eating. Because she had kuchina too. It was awesome. And she grew up in Poland. And the day I met Dina, her daughter just happened to be visiting from Washington, D.C. And so I basically have gotten to know Dina fairly well and spent a couple days, hearing her stories and writing them down. And so I got to sit in the living room here and have Connie, her daughter, and Dina just having conversations back and forth. And that's where this song was born. And it's basically Dina when she's about 87 years old now. When she was about 29 years old, she's speaking to her 4-year-old daughter. So it's from the perspective of Dina speaking. Another character song with relationship song where characters relate to each other. Thank you very much for being here. This is really wonderful.
Yes, my darling, yes, I used to be little just like you. And yes, I played with all the other kids too. Yes, my darling, yes, I used to be little like you. Well, darling, in a Polish town halfway around the world is where I lived when I was just a girl. On a farm in a Polish town halfway around the world. And I had you and a strong will. We made our home in these New York hills. You sailed with me, I sailed with you. With a leather suitcase, everything was new. That's a good question. We sailed to America because there was a war. And when you're older, I promise I'll tell you more. My sweet darling, we sailed to America because there was a war. What's a war? Well, it's when people fight and things get really tough. That's all for now, I've answered enough. My sweet darling, war is when things get really tough. In the New York harbor, as the ship pulled in, I held you close, we were starting over again. You sailed with me, I sailed with you. With a leather suitcase, I was 22. And yes, I had a family, but some people came and took us from our farm. And yes, you're right, my dear, yes, that's a tattoo on my arm. I had a family, but some people came and took us from our farm. And still I wonder, but I don't know why I was a lucky one to leave alive. You sailed with me, I sailed with you, with a leather suitcase and this blue tattoo. No more questions today. Why don't you go outside with the other kids and play? And darling, please, no more questions today. I had you and a strong will. We made our home in these New York hills. You sailed with me, I sailed with you, with a leather suitcase and this blue tattoo. Guess I done what everyone expected of me. So I sneak me a pencil, you gotta swear not to tell. And at night I draw the falcon on the walls of my cell. At night I draw the falcon. And I hardly know nothing and mostly don't care. But flying like this gets me out of here. And I wish I had something, but nothing ain't fair. Flying like this gets me out of here. Flying like this gets me out of here. Flying like this gets me out of here.
I lived out in Seattle for about 9 years before moving out here 3 years ago. And I love it here. I love it in upstate New York, in central New York, and the Finger Lakes region, and out in western New York. I've just done a lot of traveling. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute or two. But out in Seattle, I spent a year in jail. And I'm going to sing a song about that. I spent a year in jail, working with youth who were detained. I was not detained. And what I did is I took a digital recording equipment into the Juvenile Detention Center in Seattle, and I wrote songs and raps and poetry and whatnot with students who were detained. So we set up this mobile equipment in a jail cell, and I got these kids to write and record their stories. And I have this whole thing about telling stories, and I'll play you a couple New York stories after this song. So one kid that I got to know pretty well, his name was Fred, and his nickname was Freddy The Falcon. And so I wrote a song based on some stories that Freddy told me about his life. So this is Freddy the Falcon. I'm Freddy the Falcon, daredevil feet, skateboard champ on Jackson Street. Skateboard champ on Jackson Street. Ramp up and lift off 2 flights high. When the wheels leave the pavement, the falcon can fly. When the wheels leave the pavement, the falcon can fly. And I hardly know nothing and mostly don't care, but flying like this gets me out of here. And I wish I had something, but nothing ain't fair. Flying like this gets me out of here. Flying like this gets me out of here. Oh. But they all call me Rat Boy, my grades are bad, with a crazy temper that I got from my dad. With a crazy
temper that I got from my dad. My mama gets scared when my dad comes home drunk. Everybody says rat boy is destined to flunk. Everybody says rat boy. And I hardly know nothing and mostly don't care. But flying like this gets me out of here. And I wish I had something, but nothing ain't fair. Flying like this gets me out of here. Flying like this gets me out of here. Oh, 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 oh. Skipping school, hanging out on the street, and out behind the factory where the dropouts meet. It happened real quick. I got in on the scene in the back of a Mustang cooking methamphetamine. In the back of a Mustang. And I hardly know nothing and mostly don't care. But flying like this gets me out of here. And I wish I had something, but nothing ain't fair. Flying like this gets me out of here. Flying like this gets me out of here. Oh, 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 oh. Now I've got these navy blues in jail cell D. Guess I done what everyone expected of me. I guess I done what everyone expected of me. So I sneak me a pencil, you gotta swear not to tell. And at night I draw the falcon on the walls of my cell. At night I draw the falcon. And I hardly know nothing and mostly don't care. But flying like this gets me out of here. And I wish I had something, but nothing ain't fair. Flying like this gets me out of here. Flying like this gets me out of here. Flying like this gets me out.
The Finger Lakes project was a lot about, I went to all 11 Finger Lakes, you know, and all the towns around them. And I would get emails, I would get phone calls, letters from people saying, hey, like my grandfather had a, you know, whiskey still, or their, you know, their neighbors had a whiskey still. This guy, Walt Losey, I wrote this song called Red Rooster in the Mash Pile. And a friend of a friend of a friend got in touch with me and said, you know, I know this guy, he's 83 years old, he lives in Alpine, New York, and his neighbors had a whiskey still in their yard, you know, and they had roosters and horses, and the roosters would just go out and get totally drunk eating the leftover mash from the whiskey still, and the roosters would cluck around town, you know, all drunk and everything. And I was like, that's it, that, you know, so I wrote this song, you know, red rooster in the mash pile, you know. And it's basically a funny song about, you know, these roosters going out and getting drunk. And to me, that was like perfect, you know. It's like, that's a true story that wouldn't have been told, and, you know, so I love that kind of stuff.